Welcome back to Daddyland. The park is once again open. I am your comptroller intern Carson. Please welcome the mayor of Daddyland, Cooper Johnson.
Hear ye, hear ye.
And I killed Ryan.
You did kill Ryan.
I'm taking his spot. Yeah, soon.
That's contentious. I was having this discussion with friend Danny Ty today about who would assume the throne, and it's a real Game of Thrones situation we're in here. I guess we can. all right, guy. I guess we could do a bit of housekeeping to start things off. Ryan has been noticeably absent from the show. That is within good reason. He is getting his bag right now, which I completely respect.
Not only getting his bag, but he's doing it in something that he's trained for quite a while now.
Yeah.
So good for him. We'll give him a little round of applause. Love to see it.
Good for you, Ryan.
Very rare, it's pretty rare that you see somebody like I want to do this, and they like train for it, and they do it well, successfully.
Yeah, Ryan has a knack for getting what he wants.
That's true too.
And I just think like things neatly fall into his lap, which is not an insult to him. I'm happy for him. He's doing great things, but it also means that he's busy and unfortunately can't necessarily always make time for the show. He's not permanently leaving, but he cannot be a regular mayor of Daddyland. So, in the spirit of that, we are now in the search for a new mayor of Daddyland, or a new co-mayor alongside me. Unfortunately, because you're an intern, I don't think you can actually, like, the thing about being an intern is you kind of, like, you gotta climb the corporate ladder, and you are currently at the bottom of the ladder.
Is this a Greg moment?
This is a Greg moment.
Oh, no.
You just listen. You might stumble your way up to the top, but at the moment, like it's kind of like that scene in Shark Tales, where
Shark Tales they made a second one.
Is it Shark Tale? Really?
Because it's like fairy tale, Shark Tale.
Where
when James Cameron makes the second one, he's gonna put Shark Tale with a money sign at the end of it.
Yeah, because it's gonna make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Where he brings up with the boss brings out the chart and he says like, here's whale poo, and then there's you. That's the position that you're currently in as an intern. But when you become full-fledged comptroller Carson and you ditch the intern name, unfortunately, you actually will be on probation, so you'll be Proby comptroller Carson.
This really is a Game of Thrones situation, because if I'm at the bottom of all the dirt shit pile, I have even more motivation to be murderous and cutthroat.
Yeah, no, you'll little finger your way up to the top.
I think I'm more of a Ramsay Bolton in this scenario, because Littlefinger had status beforehand. Ramsay was just like bottom bitch, whatever the fuck.
Well, things really turned out well for him, didn't they? So
I mean, he had 5 seasons of he slowly built his way up to being King of the North. Right. After that, he was winning that fight almost, and then fucking till the other people showed up.
Yeah.
He was killing it. You know what? I'll take that.
All right, sure.
I'll Ramsay my Bolton my way up, and then because I'm the editor of this shit, I'll flip the narrative and make it look like I'm the Jon Snow.
Oh, okay. Oh, now that's some Game of Thrones right there. That's some
real shit.
That's some real shit. But regardless, we've had a couple contenders. One of which we may have on the show next week. Furthering a business relationship.
We're gonna have like a sampling period.
Yeah, a little tastemaker host of the show, mayor of the show. So Brian will come back from time to time, but for the meantime, he will be absent. He'll be an absent mayor, an absent father mayor.
Only an honorary mayor.
Yeah, he'll probably he won't have permanent access to keys of this to Daddyland, but he'll have he'll get a visitor pass.
When you see him, he's always welcome.
Yeah, oh, of course.
But he just doesn't have the...
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe in the future things might mellow out when he's sorted himself out, but he's just kind of taking as much work as he can right now to kind of elevate his status and also make a bunch of money. So kudos to him.
Yeah.
So
congrats, Ryan.
Well, I'm sure we'll have him on at some point to explain himself a bit more, but for the meantime, he will be absent until he is no longer absent.
Ryan's found opportunities, which has opened up opportunities for me
to claim
nice.
to claim the mayor throne. So we have a guest coming on today, a big karate guest.
Emphasis on big.
Emphasis on, is he a big person?
He's in the heavyweights.
Might break the chair.
He's not that big.
Okay. So I just have a few notes to get through. Normally I'd take these notes on my phone, but we use my phone to record, so I've gone back to my journal, which says I'm one of a kind. It has a little unicorn on it.
I think those colors go nice with you. Kind of matches your Crocs a little bit.
Kind of also matches the podcast logo itself.
Yeah.
Thought it all through, even though I got this thing 3 years ago. Ryan's situation covered. Nice. We did that. Crazy Eights. So in the time since we did the show, I went to the Crazy Eights film gala, and I had a great time. It was very cool.
Yeah, it looked like you guys had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was nice. It was cool to see a bunch of films from young and upcoming filmmakers. I'm gonna put air quotes around that because there was one director that I think was 80 years old.
Wow.
He was probably like,
oh, okay.
But he was old.
I've never actually, even though I've been mobile for 4 years, I never actually really checked it out because I'm always gone during the summer, or the one summer I was here. Like, well, it's not really a summer thing. I don't know why it's like summer, but it's like I've either had not time or I've just not been around when the Crazy Eight shit is happening. So I've never looked into. I don't realize how big it was. Like that looked like a huge seating area.
It was huge.
Yeah,
we were all the way up on the 3rd floor. We actually could have gotten better seats, but I made us go get Abraham Lincoln seats because I thought that'd be funnier. And it was really great because they were horrible. Like for the first half of the screenings, I was the only one that could sit comfortably of the 3 of us and watch them. and then after the intermission, I was like, all right, Michael, you can take my seat because he was like craning his neck so hard to see the movies. But yeah, the one that our friend of the show, Kathleen, worked on, Consumer, was fucking amazing. It was easily my favorite one of the night.
I heard it was the best one.
It was put on last, which makes sense. It was very enjoyable. Had a great time with it. Very inspiring. So yeah, had a good time at that.
So many of our friends are accomplishing really cool things. This is awesome. Love to see it.
I hate them. I hate them all. But
well,
I'm happy for them.
That's the feeling that we keep quiet.
Right.
Right. Congratulations, Kathleen.
Yeah, good job. Proud of you, and keep doing more cool stuff. So a Kendrick Lamar album came out recently.
It took you that long. I saw what you had on that page. It's just like 4 words there.
Well, because I'll give some preface. Originally I thought we were going to record this podcast a couple days ago, and we were going to record on a day that I just so happened to wake up at 2 a.m. and didn't get back to sleep. And then at 6 a.m. I went, yeah, fuck it, I can work. And then I worked a full day, and then I came back here and just immediately started getting ready for the show. And I was dead tired. Like, I was exhausted. And I just started jotting down notes of things I wanted to talk about. So it's the things I want to talk about are all over the page. So trying to like find the next thing that I want to talk about.
Dots
yeah, because like there's stuff I wrote here that I'm saving for our guest, and I'm just like trying to like piece together what I wrote because it's fucking chicken scratch. It looks like a psychopath wrote it. Like it looks like a murder note. It looks like something that you leave on, like it's
the scraps of a manifesto.
It's like if I were around in the 70s and I like where like people left their doors unlocked, and like it wasn't hard to break into houses, like I would break into a single woman's house and leave a note that looked exactly like what I wrote in my book on her counter to like keep her scared.
This is why Kathleen thinks you're the serial killer.
I've never backed away from it.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm not. I'm just saying this is another piece of evidence.
Yeah. Tonight's the night.
Tonight's the night.
So new Kendrick Lamar album came out. Really good.
Awesome, yeah.
Really great. I loved it. I think on our first pass, I wasn't completely sold, but the more I've listened to it, the more I'm like, I fucking love this thing so much.
Takes a second.
Yeah.
To kind of get it. I think also
it's kind of overwhelming, but in a good way.
Like, I don't know how much you read about it. I didn't read anything before listening to it, and we got super high, which was great for some songs, but there's some others that were like
heavy hitters.
Yeah, you're just like, not in a bad way, but it like you're just like, oh my god,
it's a lot to take on when you're in that state.
Yeah,
because like, Especially there's one song called "We Cry Together," and like when you're high and you see people arguing,
You're
it
just
makes you uncomfortable. So
it
imagine
it
you're
feels like when you're a kid and like the teacher's yelling at somebody or someone's having a temper
yeah,
tantrum, and you're just like, whoa.
yeah, like because there's a morbid curiosity where like you want to keep listening, but you also know that it's like something that's deeply personal that you should not probably be privy to. That's what "We Cry Together" is, and it's a song, and we had it playing really loud, and we were really high, so it was a lot. It was a lot. Okay,
I was there.
you
I liked the this was my
you
choice,
were there.
but I liked that I did this. I liked putting on the X-Men cartoons on mute because sometimes it looked like Apocalypse was rapping.
It did. It was especially early, like I think on like N95. So when Apocalypse was speaking, it just looked like he was fucking rapping next to Kendrick Lamar. It was great. It was really funny.
That was good. Yeah. Fucking like I don't even know. We've talked about so much this week already, so it feels kind of like a regurgitation, but it's super cool. It's got a unique sound to it. It doesn't sound like there's a few songs that are very just trap heavy, but most of it, I'd say from the instrument palette sounds pretty new and fresh. He's rapping about like shit we haven't really heard him rap about before, or if it is, he's got a really new interesting take on it.
Yeah, I mean, especially like it seems like the album is kind of it's split into two parts, and it seems like the first part is about like toxicity, and the second half of the album is about like him acknowledging these toxicities and like trying to like
He hit the melt sessions.
yeah, he's improving himself. Especially the penultimate song, "Mother I Sober," is this fucking harrowing song. It might be one of the saddest Kendrick Lamar songs I've ever heard in my life.
I think one of the saddest hip hop songs
Ever.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause it goes into details of like past trauma of his, like abuse in his family, pains his mother has suffered, which led into trauma for him, like in kind of he had like an addiction to infidelity. And like it's all about his recovery also from that. And it's also like to like bridge the gap between the different sections. You have the lead singer of Portishead just singing this fucking
Haunting.
haunting and really sad like chorus, and whew, it's a lot.
And it's still catchy.
Oh,
Like that's
it's
the coolest thing
yeah, it's a
about it as
great
well.
listen, and it also like similar also to another song, Auntie Diaries, which is about two trans people in Kendrick's life. Uh, the song like builds up to like this like just this
It's
wonderful
like
like
both them kind of coming into their own, like, being comfortable with who they are, then also Kendrick himself, I think,
changing.
changing to like accept them as well. And
Yeah,
like it's so that like the strings are going fucking crazy at the end. It's so beautiful. And then even the last line is also really funny too, just to cap it all off.
yeah.
And like it's funny in a way that it's just something simple that he says that and I'm not gonna say because the whole thing is just slurs, but he says it in a way that makes you laugh and also you go like, yeah, that's a good point.
And yeah, it's a great album. The last song especially like constantly makes me tear up because it's like it seems like Kendrick throughout his career has kind of been very open about the fact that he has a savior complex, and like
I feel like also on top of that, even for a lot of artists who don't have that, they get pushed in that position by their fans. Is
yeah,
like, oh, like fucking Londell raised my mommy. She saved my life.
and especially Kendrick, like
Yeah,
a lot of Kendrick fans, not all of them, but a good chunk of them treat Kendrick as if he's gonna change the world. And like the last song is basically about him rejecting that and being like I'm sorry, but I have to, like I have a family, like I'm gonna put them first, and he's just kind of stepping back from that. Not only from what people expect from him, because he says a line like, "You ain't growing waiting on me. You can't grow waiting on me."
yeah.
But also just like of his own expectations, he's like I'm not your savior. Like I gotta
Which ties into the song
savior, yeah.
Savior.
So it's great, yeah. And there's a song called Father Time on the first half of the record that has probably one of my favorite Kendrick beats ever, and also it's a song about daddy issues. It's fantastic. Like it's incredible that he makes such catchy music while also tackling such heavy subjects like fucking daddy issues and
I can't stop singing Auntie Diaries.
yeah.
I think that's the most like the for me at least that's the catchiest one on the album, which is that's probably like the like a lot of people I think kind of, especially now with the internet, like things get so sensationalized. It's like, oh my god, this is so deep, or like so whatever. I think sometimes the easiest way to like kind of not put ideas in people's heads, but like kind of inspire new thought and stuff is like just make shit catchy, man. And that's like just you don't have to make like the most poetic, even though he also does that. Like sometimes you just have like one catchy line. That's all it takes.
Yeah. And like for Auntie Diaries, I think that's a controversial one, because he says the F slur a bunch in it. Uh and like I looked at it from the perspective that this is a song not really for the LGBTQ community, but it's a song for people on the outside of that who maybe don't understand it. And Kendrick is like trying to, because it's no mystery that there is rampant homophobia everywhere, but in the black community, there's a lot of homophobia. Like,
I think just in a lot of poor communities, especially in America, are like pretty Christian, like especially the Hispanic and black communities, and then I think just that lends itself, like just organized religion and Christianity, especially lends itself to homophobia in general. So
yeah,
it's
and
just like it's an unfortunate byproduct of Christianity being kind of
yeah,
everywhere.
and so the song is kind of like it's almost like a song for those people to like get a glimpse into what it's really like, and like what just kind of seeing like also seeing Kendrick's change from someone who was on the outside of that and grew to kind of understand it and accept it.
Which is that's also what you want, like, because yeah, when you see it like through his eyes, it's not Kendrick like appropriating someone else's story. Like, yeah, he's talking about somebody else, but it is again like through his eyes. And even within the chorus, like right after saying the slur, it's like he says the slur, and then the next line is like he's like, "We said it. We didn't know what it meant when we said it. Like we just said it because it sounded like impactful." It's like the start of In Paris, where it's like nobody knows what that means. We just know it's provocative.
Yeah.
And so and there's so many words like that. I feel like everybody said as kids, where like you just hit the age of 10 and you know it shit that like you finally find out about words that make people go like, oh my god, but you don't know what they mean yet, and then unfortunately they just get adopted in your vocabulary. And he's like he makes it so clear as well in just one little thing. It's like he's like, I didn't mean it like that, you know.
Yeah, it's a good song.
And then he also recognizes like I didn't mean it like that, but that also doesn't mean I should say it either.
Yeah.
Simple. He's like, oh man, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a great album. I'd probably put it out of, because like I think my favorite Kendrick album is To Pimp a Butterfly. I'd probably put To Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid, Mad City, and then this one. It's in the top 3, in my opinion.
Which like you put them all together, the difference in quality and like it's so little. There's nothing really like that stands out as far below the rest.
Yeah.
They're all so close to each other. Like any artist would be like legendary to have put out even half the shit that he has.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah, man, what a guy.
What a guy.
Best guy.
He gets the Best Guy award.
Best guy.
Speaking of music,
also before that, our guest just texted me he's going to be a little late.
So anyway.
Wow, what a seamless transition. The natural flow of conversation was amazing right there, Cooper. That was awesome. I can't believe you have such a way with words.
Thanks, man. I'm overwhelmed right now.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of music, recently I was reacquainted with a song that I am deeply in love with, and it's a song like, here's the thing, and I realize now I really have to start utilizing the like button on Spotify, because that's a place where I can put songs where I can't place them in any playlist. Like, I mean, I could, but I just like, I think thematically, like I recognize that songs don't fit into certain playlists, so I just kind of have to like, I just have to fucking
take a mental note.
Yeah, take a mental note. At least that's what I did before, but now I just like the song, so it's in the like playlist, so I can go back to it, and it's there. It's just like there's so many songs where I think they're amazing, but I'm like, this doesn't work with any of my playlists, and I'm not gonna make a new one just for this one song. So unless I make like a miscellaneous thing, but that's already what the liked folder is for. So
you're like a hunter gatherer. You're like you building up the stockpile. You'll sort it later.
So like I this song I didn't add to my liked, and then I listened to it a bunch, and then I stopped listening to it, and then it just kind of fell out of my mind, and then it was off in the wind until I was reminded of it today, and I picked it up again and been listening to it all day. It is, I think, in my top 10 songs of all time.
Best chorus ever, you told me.
Yes, because it's not really a chorus. It's just a guy belting out a harmony. The song is called "Return to Innocence" by Enigma, and it's this weird song about like returning to your innocence, And when it comes to the chorus, like there's just this big ramp up, and the guy just goes, "Hey ya ya yo ya ya oh I oh ya oh yo ya ya," and like that's the whole chorus. It's fucking amazing.
That was awesome.
Right? We have a friend named Taryn who absolutely loves that song. I remember I brought it up and he was like, "Dude, that song's amazing." I'm like, "I know. It's a great fucking song." I think it's beautiful. Like we've talked about this on the show before, and it's something that I hope to do eventually. Hint, hint, maybe with our potential new mayor. We'll see.
He'll be in the after credit scene. So
yeah, he'll be in the post credit scenes. He'll walk out like Nick Fury. But I really want to do a live show of the podcast eventually. And I think like a really fun gag would be is like we just pick someone out of the crowd and I try to heal them. Like I'll pick someone out that's like having a bad day, or like they're plagued by some kind of something horrible is going on in their life and they need external help, and I will heal them to that song.
Chi sessions.
Yeah,
get
like
the chi up.
The chi up. That's what it is. Like we do a chi session. That's a brilliant idea, man. We got to make chi.
It popped into my head. That the dopamine in my head went up immediately. Just the word chi.
That's what the chi sessions do, baby. I can't. I've realized I can't really sit comfortably in these chairs.
You were so excited when you got them.
I was so happy, and like I do like them, but I fucking really.
Hey man, I feel like that's a poetic thing. Like the king who doesn't sit comfortably is the best one.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, I did. Nobody take that. That's mine. It's like heavy lies the crown, but a bit.
You butchered that.
A bit dumber. What?
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You just said heavy lies the crown. Like as if it's on the floor and it's really hard to pick up.
Well, doesn't it
heavy lies the crown.
Lie on your head? I've heard both.
I haven't heard the other one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm from Alberta.
Don't apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm from Alberta. We might have the dumbed down version for.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've noticed that a lot. I like this sayings that I thought were just like that's just how you say them, and people out here are like, what the fuck are you saying? So either I'm stupid or we just have the dumb version in Alberta.
Well, yeah, I think it'd be putting a hat on a hat.
Because the one you just said, that's a lot more words, and I don't really want to deal with those.
Yeah.
So I just yeah. Okay, you know what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I'm also an asshole. Like I could have just ignored that, but if I see someone that's wrong, it's like I zero in on that. And I'm like a fucking lion. Like I smell it. I'm just like, he's wrong.
Bro, you owned me.
And I pounce on it. I do it all the time. I do it to people who don't use. What is it?
Me and I.
Yes, yeah. I do it when they're. That's not. I'm a grammar Nazi. I'll admit it. Okay. You know what? I think we should change.
You hear that, guys? Cooper's a Nazi.
I don't like. Hold on. I don't like that stigma. I don't like grammar Nazi. I think that's offensive to people who care about good grammar.
You think annoying people get a tough rap?
Yes.
Elaborate on this.
Obama was annoying. He wouldn't have gotten anything done if he wasn't annoying.
That's true.
Albert Einstein, he was annoying.
Was he? I've actually never heard him speak.
He's German.
That doesn't. What does that have to do with?
Picture a German guy speaking. That's how he sounds like.
Is that annoying to you?
He goes, "Hi there, I'm a German guy. I'm a big math guy."
See how good they did that? He's definitely a Nazi.
Yeah, you're right. You bloody got me. All right, never mind. Annoying people are Nazis. I walk back on that.
There it is. But that makes sense because all Nazis are annoying, and so it makes sense that all annoying people are Nazis. I don't think there's any flaw in that at all.
No.
No logical fallacies. No. I think we can jump to that conclusion
All annoying people are Nazis.
because all Nazis are annoying.
Mm-hmm.
They don't call it a two-way street for nothing.
Why do they call it a two-way street?
Because it goes both ways. It's connected.
Isn't that just a regular street?
Well, no, sometimes there's streets where you can only go one way, and those are the ones you hate driving on downtown.
That's true. Yeah, those are really annoying.
That's like us.
Especially annoying if you can't turn around.
That's
anywhere.
like us to the viewers. They can't. Well, now they can talk back to us using the email daddylandpod@gmail.com. Remember that, guys, or DM us on our Instagram.
Daddylandpod at Instagram.
Yeah, that's it, at Instagram.com. That's right.
I really want to get a sponsor for this show. I don't know what we get sponsored by. Blue Apron. I'll fucking eat food on camera if like they might need me to.
Would you be okay with getting one like just a small time like if we could find something our friends are starting up, and then I don't know if we have any friends that are starting businesses, but
As long as money goes into my pocket, I'll help.
that's the real thing you care about.
Yeah. I'm dying to sell out here. Have you seen this fucking studio?
It's perfect. Perfect.
Perfect. But it costed me all the money in the world for a green screen and 2 red curtains and lights that I bought a year ago. But that might all change because we might be moving. So, you know.
New mayor, new city.
Well, yeah. I mean, same mayor, new mayor. It'll be like, it's like 2.5 Men.
They just bring in a new guy every
Yeah.
few seasons. Yeah.
That's not how 2.5 Men was.
I didn't see the show.
It was Charlie Sheen for like 6 seasons, and then he started winning, and then they brought in Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
Hot off his very famous Steve Jobs movie run.
I know you're making a joke right now, but I don't take kindly to this Ashton dissing.
All right. Didn't know that not aware that was a nerve I would ever strike with you.
Ashton Kutcher nerve. I haven't seen any of his content. I love him. I'll defend him any day.
Never seen an Ashton Kutcher movie?
Nope.
You haven't seen Butterfly Effect?
Nope.
You haven't seen Steve Jobs?
Nope. Well, I've seen Steve Jobs. I haven't seen Jobs.
You haven't seen Dude, Where's My Car?
Nope. I haven't seen that 70s show.
You haven't seen... I'm really struggling.
The only thing I've seen him in is Tropic Thunder.
What?
He's in it for one scene. He walks up to Ben Stiller and hands him a lemonade and goes, "Here's your lemonade, sir," and then walks off.
Huh.
My guess is he was in it more and got cut from the movie.
You didn't see him in Marley and Me?
Nope.
That's a trick question. That's Owen Wilson.
I hadn't seen it, so
All right.
I wouldn't know.
You didn't see him in that movie with Mila Kunis, his real life wife, where they're friends with benefits? I think it's called Friends with Benefits.
That was Justin Timberlake in that movie, but I haven't seen that.
Ashton Kutcher's in a movie like that, though.
Yeah, he's in one with Natalie Portman called No
Oh.
Strings Attached, which I also haven't seen.
That's crazy that they both did movies like
Yeah.
that. Also, very close together. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
both those movies were like within
Oh,
2 years.
found out why that happens, but do you know why that happens?
No.
So apparently a lot of times in Hollywood, they'll just have, like they have the blacklist they have, which is like all the scripts that they know are good, they just haven't been made yet. Like I think Sicario was on that list for a long time, and same with Hell or High Water or something like that. But they also have another list of movies, or a list of scripts that the actual plot itself they know is kind of a banger, but it's generic enough that they could adapt it to anything. That's how Die Hard 3 got made. They had just a generic heist script that wasn't a Die Hard movie, and then they greenlit Die Hard 3, and they were like, why don't we just make the characters in this movie the Die Hard characters? And they did that. So I think that happens a lot, and what they'll do is they'll greenlight kind of 2 movies, and these scripts get split off and changed a little bit. So that's why you have shit like White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen that come out in the same year, because they started as the same generic-y script, and then they greenlight 2 movies that it splits off and becomes it. I think that's also what happened with Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached. Same with like Armageddon and Deep Impact. Isn't that cool?
No. No kidding, it is.
This is good for you as a writer. You could write a script that gets made into 2 movies.
But do I get royalties off that?
I don't know. Depends how good your agent is.
Because I assume someone else ends up getting the credit because then they change the script slightly.
Again,
enough.
I think depending on how good your agent is.
All right, well, I got to get an agent first.
Yeah. So you need a sponsor, you need an agent. Yeah.
So what's the most like? Now I'm trying to think of like a movie I could make that is applicable to be transformed into other movies, but is just boring enough that like. Okay, so here's the movie. All right.
All right.
A horse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that's too specific. A non-specific animal gets hit by a meteor.
Holy shit.
And you think that it kills it, and it does. But the meteor had an alien in it that turns into whatever animal it struck. So it's kind of fortunate, like, that the alien actually hit something, because if it had hit grass, it would have just turned into grass. But it struck an animal, so it was able to turn to an animal.
Oh, it's like the Ditto Pokemon.
Yeah, it's like Flubber.
I haven't seen Flubber.
Okay, it's nothing like
Is
Flubber.
Ashton Kutcher in it?
No.
Oh.
Robin Williams.
Well, I knew that. I assumed there's other people also in the movie, like maybe Ashton Kutcher.
I actually don't know who else is in that movie. I've seen it a lot, but I don't. I'm a big Flubber fan. Okay, I'll go defend Flubber.
Are there other
the
people at least you just don't recognize them, or are you not even sure if there's other people like that in the movie besides him?
There's a good chance Robin Williams plays every other character in the movie. I could be totally wrong, but I'm fairly certain that Robin Williams plays the only.
Knowing that you're the #1 Flubber fan in the room, I'm willing to take your word on it.
Okay.
Oh, our guest is here.
Our guest is here.
Hold
okay.
on. Okay, Cooper's gonna do an ad break.
Oh shit. So anyway.
Wow, what a seamless transition. Welcome, everyone. This is my. I don't know if I've ever talked about karate on the podcast like extensively. I do karate. You know, I used to do it competitively. I'm injured right now, and I got to pay bills, so I got to work. I'm not doing it this year. But this is my training partner, Fernando. He's going to the Pan American Championships on Sunday, right?
The Sunday I leave, and then the competition starts the Thursday.
Yeah, yeah. So we've been training together for about like 4 years now.
Well, ever since you moved to Vancouver.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought he's got a GoFundMe going to kind of fund his travels and a lot of his expenses. So I thought it'd be good to have him on, both because Cooper's been looking for guests and I don't know.
We'll put a link to your GoFundMe in the podcast notes.
Yeah, and all that.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
So I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
One, what are the Pan Ams?
Yeah, Cooper doesn't know anything about karate.
Oh, Lord.
Well, hold on. I did Taekwondo.
Oh my God. Yeah. Have you had people? Okay. Have you been like people been up to you and be like, oh, yeah, you do like Taekwondo, even though like you've told them you do karate?
Yeah. They all get confused.
It's fair though. Like I understand if you don't know, like
it's all the same to some people.
it's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like Cobra Kai kind of helped. Like,
yeah, definitely getting the karate stuff across.
People like or like karate, that's like that shit.
Brought it back up a little bit.
But anyways, yeah. So you're not familiar with that at all.
Nope, unless you count, I guess, the worst part of karate, Taekwondo, which I know everything about.
So I guess I can give you a quick explanation. So basically, karate, there's two parts. There's one they call kata, which is like a choreographed movements. In Taekwondo, they have the same thing. I think it's called pumse or something.
Yeah.
Where they do like you see them like they're doing the techniques and like really high kicks, but they're not fighting anyone. And then we have what Carson and I do. We've been doing the past few years is we call in Japanese it's called kumite, which is a sparring. So it's actually fighting each other. But the big difference versus like something like MMA is that there's actually full control. So you're not actually, or I guess difference from Taekwondo, you're not going to knock someone out. You're going to do your technique very fast and strong, and you show it really good. For points, it's a point system.
Okay,
Same as Taekwondo, I guess, in that sense.
And similar to maybe boxing in a sense, where it's just about like, is it
boxing? You can because you can win by knocking somebody out.
But I just mean like you can also win just by
exactly
point accumulation. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So this one is just points, and that's basically what I do. And then I guess to answer your previous questions, the Pan Ams is just basically every country of North America and South America, they send their top 2 athletes to compete for the division. For example, my division is plus 84. For us, it's our heavyweight division. And I'd be basically competing all the countries that from North America, South America, especially South America, because there's just so many countries. It's kind of crazy, and yeah, it's just that's the level of competition. And I'm going to, first of all, for myself to get a medal, but also next year there's gonna be the Pan Am Games, which is the multi-sport event. That's the one that's like an Olympic event, and that's my goal to get to that one because they only send I think like 8 or 10 athletes. So like a lot of countries won't even be able to send an athlete to that event. So it'd be a big deal if Canada even got one karate athlete in the karate event, and for me to get some kind of result there would be a dream.
So you're representing all of Canada. That's
for his weight category. Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So
good for you, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
So I never got the chance to go to Worlds because they only hold it every 2 years.
Oh yeah.
So the year I was on the national team, I only went to Pan Am's. Would you say Pan Am's and Worlds are like a similar difficulty level? They just because obviously, and then Worlds just has more countries, or do you think there's an even bigger kind of challenge at Worlds?
Yeah, so it's kind of it's tricky because so Pan Am's is top 2 of each country goes, and just in the Pan American region. But Worlds is like all the countries in the world, but they only send one athlete. They send their best athlete. So in one way that can be harder because it's like kind of their best athletes and you're competing against all countries. And for Pan Am's, the thing is, even though technically it should be lower level, it can be harder sometimes. It's because even though they have maybe their best athlete, maybe the other athletes, if you fight them, it's harder for you to fight, for example. And so in a lot of ways, it can be the same level. But at Worlds, for the most part, is harder just because there's so many more people. For example, Pan Am's, my division might be like 40 people, but Worlds, my division is like 80 people.
So do you, like when you go into there,
Yeah.
Is it like tournament style where like, like, okay, so it's like that? Because
exactly.
My first thought was you have to fight every single guy.
Oh, no, yeah, that would suck, yeah.
So it's like tournament style where like you find your way to the top. Have you ever been to Pan Am's or anything like this before? Is this your first time?
Yeah, it's my third time. My first time was in 2019. I was 20 years old back then, and that was the junior Pan Am's, and I competed in the U21 division, so I was 18, 19, 20. Then I did my first senior Pan Am's, which is just 18 plus, and that's like the big leagues because all those people there are like competing like world champion. Like
that's when you see guys like walking around, people are like pointing at them because it's like, oh, like I know that guy.
Yeah,
like I've seen him online.
And you fight those guys.
A lot of big names. Yeah. It's like people like you might like fight like the last year's like world champion in your first round.
Oh shit!
You never know, or like a Pan Am champion is just kind of like you're facing them in your second round, right? But then and you could beat that guy and then still fight another like European champion or something like that,
God damn.
Yeah.
So what's the like? Are you fighting for glory? Is there like a money prize? Like what's not that you need incentive beyond maybe being the best karate guy.
Yeah.
But like what's like is there like a thing that happens at the end of this karate rainbow if you fight your way to the top?
So Carson's laughing because I think you already.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's mostly for personal reasons because as far as compensation or what you get, you don't really get shit, to be honest, in Canada. Maybe in Europe, like a lot of like karate is very Eurocentric. So like those countries and in that hemisphere, they get a lot of support and like the athletes are very supported. And let's say if they get a result, I think they get more funding from their countries. But even in Canada, well, especially in Canada, first of all, there's not even financial support in the first place. They only support like 3 athletes in the whole country. And even then, it's not that much. And they do offer cash prizes in some. There's a league called the Premier League division or competition, sorry, that they do all year round. Like they do 4 or 5 per year. And if you get like, for example, first place, I think you win like 150 euros or something like that.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah, like you can get like 150 euros or 200 euros. But that covers like half of your, like for some people like us, that covers like half of our plane ticket, So it's like, it's nice to get, but it doesn't really give us much. So in terms of like financially, the only benefit that we can get is taking advantage. For example, let's say if I become a world champion and then like I retire, I can kind of use that title to be like, hey, I was a world champion. Come train with me, or like, oh, I can do seminars.
There's a lot of people who they're retired, but like a lot of people just retire. Like it's any sport, like they retire before even they're 40, but because they're at such a renowned level, they get paid to go travel and like teach seminars around the world. Like my coach from Calgary, would regularly get like a dojo in like Toronto or something would like pay him $3,000, fly him out for the weekend. He teaches a few summers there and flies back and shit like that. But the actual tournament itself, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything you just kind of have to take advantage kind of on your own, essentially. And that's kind of how it is.
Listen, I'm going to make a bold statement here. And I'm not just saying this because I think you would kick my head off. But of all the sports that are recognized here in Canada, I think karate would be one that should probably be pushed more to the forefront because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking lacrosse, fuck off. Hockey, that's fine. But karate, that should be at least in the top 3 because it's fucking fun to watch.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's so much potential, but I feel like a lot of people, they see it and they're kind of thrown off because it's not real. I tell people like it's not real fighting. Like if you want to watch like real like people knocking each other out, like for sure, like watch MMA. But this is a little bit different. It's definitely more of a sport because they call it sport karate. But that said, I don't think that takes anything away from the beauty and like the attraction because you can see some really cool shit. And for example, I guess you're not familiar. Karate debuted in the Olympics. The last Olympics was in the Tokyo one, and in that one there was one division that got. I think Seth Rogen talked about it, where Saudi Arabia was fighting Iran for the gold medal, and Iran got knocked out by the Saudi Arabia fighter, and but the Saudi Arabia dude like did an amazing like beautiful kick, and it looked pretty controlled, and but on it the only problem is that the other guy kind of fell, and it looked like he got unconscious for a little bit, and they disqualified him, and gave a gold medal to the person that got knocked out, right? You're laughing at it because it's kind of stupid, right? Because imagine like getting the gold medals for getting knocked out.
I mean, that'd be great for
Right?
me personally.
Yeah, exactly.
The most Cooper way of winning
Yeah.
anything.
Exactly. And like if it was something malicious where you like, yeah, you see the other guy like fully like not control, like or like
That happened
like-
a few years back as well, in the finals or something, didn't it?
yeah.
There was the 2 guys that just started actually.
Oh yeah,
fighting.
yeah. There was one. There was one competition. It was Germany versus Russia, actually, for bronze. And usually for bronze, there's more kind of like fight because they want to get the medal more than gold. Because medal match, like even if you lose, you're gonna get silver, right? It's like they want to get the gold, but it's less competitive than the bronze. Anyways, I don't know what happened. Like they just got pissed at each other and they suddenly started slapping each other and started like actually fighting. And then the referees right away stopped them and like disqualified both of them. Be like, none of you are getting a medal. Like go, because karate is supposed to be about like values, respect, right? And that's completely against the core principles of, I guess, any martial art. So that's always like that's a big no-no.
I think that's like one thing I've always respected about like karate. I've already forgotten the word for it, but a couple summers ago, Carson and I had partaken in some illegal substances, and I watched him do that.
Kata. I did some kata for Cooper.
And it almost
or
really,
Wait,
really
were you like high and
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
and it,
Just like
But
spontaneous.
we were in like a field and the sun was setting. And I was like, I hadn't done kata in a while, and like
Oh, okay.
it's something because I used to compete in kata. Like I did both growing up, but once you turn like 17, 18, like the level at which you need to be at to compete is like it's just so high that you can't dedicate enough time to both. Especially in this country, like there's people in some other countries where even in their 20s they're doing both, but that's because their country's like paying them. They don't need to work any jobs, right? But here, like we don't have that, so. I picked the sparring one, but like I always miss kata because I really like it, and so
He's good at it. He's really good at it.
Yeah,
too.
so that's
it almost brought me to tears watching it.
Oh, really?
I thought it was so beautiful. I
Oh,
wasn't
shit.
really high, but I thought it was
Something.
so beautiful watching it.
It is beautiful. Kata is impressive. It's very hard. It's so fucking like when you look at it. I mean, it's really cool that like you can appreciate even someone without the experience of like knowing karate. Like for me, I love hearing
I did
people
taekwondo.
like. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. Actually, never mind. No, you have experience.
I've
Your
done whatever
experience.
their version of kata is.
But I think like even whatever amount you did of like probably any martial art, it gives you appreciation.
Yeah, no, I think it's a beautiful looking sport.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So I mean, so you're basically just going in there just for fighting. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's like basically when you get older, you kind of have to choose if you want to specialize in either kumite or kata. When you're younger, you compete in both, but even though they're both under the domain of karate, they're completely different. It's very, very different. So that's why at the high level, you just kind of need to choose one. Theoretically, you could do both, but it's very, very hard, and like you need a lot of time.
Now, since you said that they only pick 2 people to go to Pan Am's,
For each division, yeah.
what is the process like to even get selected to be the one of only 2 people in Canada to go to this kind of event?
Yeah, so normally they do it through nationals, right? Yeah, they just we have our nationals every year, and then if you just get top 2 at nationals, you're just selected. You just go straight to Pan Am's essentially. And for example, let's say like even if I got 3rd place in the nationals, let's say Carson got 2nd place, for example. We were in the same division, but Carson can't go. Maybe he doesn't have enough money or
Injured
or injured. Yeah,
before, what happens a lot before in juniors is a lot of people age out because
yeah,
when they compete at nationals, they're of the age of the category. But by the time the actual big tournament's gonna be around, they're gonna be too old. So you have a lot of people who get like gold because they're older, obviously, and then they just age out. So the silver and bronze go instead. But once you're 18 plus, like that doesn't really happen
Yeah.
anymore.
yeah. So then maybe they'll invite the 3rd person. Anyways, but this year actually, Carson and I we both competed. They did a competition specifically. It was called Team Trials because it was only to select people for this Pan American, the one that I'm going to go to next week. But it was the same thing. It was just top 2.
So what he means by it is they didn't call it nationals because nationals is usually to determine the national team, and once you're on the national team, you're on the roster for any
yeah.
big world tournament. But because of COVID, so much of their system got fucked up.
Yeah,
They're like, we're gonna
things
have a
got
tournament
really delayed. Yeah.
just to go to this one tournament, but after that, like your status doesn't mean anything for the remaining world tournaments for the rest of the year. It's like just for this specific one.
Mhm.
So are they going to restart that whole process?
There's
now?
another tournament in June to
In July.
July. Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're gonna do finally nationals again in July, and then it's gonna be the system I explained, where basically, yeah, you have to get top 2 if you want to go to Pan Am's, and then in Pan Am's you basically just have to perform better than whoever else is in your division to go to Worlds. And this year is gonna be Junior Worlds, and then next year they're gonna do Senior Worlds again because they just alternate. Because each one is just every 2 years.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you have to beat, or you have to get through 40 people, and then you can be considered for Worlds. Or I guess,
Oh yeah, like in terms of like Pan Am's.
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. Like the amount of people varies, but the reason why I say kind of is that it's tricky because my division, Canada has one athlete who went to Olympics for karate, and that was a really big deal because usually Canada doesn't ever send people to like that high level competition. And Olympics, I think it was only like 10 people per division.
Yeah, it was really small. It was
Very
like
small,
they only had before like tri tournaments used to be just kind of like brackets like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then so if you lose first round, like you're kind of done for the most part. Sometimes you get to do the repertoires, but it's like you move up. Now they have pools where you get to fight 4 people, and then they just kind of rack up the points and take the top 2. But even Olympics, it was so small they only ever did like 2 rounds, like first pool and then knocked out, and then it was just immediately the medal rounds.
Yeah. So essentially, the reason why I bring that up is because since he went to Olympics and he's also been going to a lot of international competitions longer than me, it's not only what we do at nationals, for example. Like theoretically, I could beat him at nationals, but maybe they wouldn't send me for worlds. They would send him for worlds because he has more points that you accumulate by going to international competitions, and especially because he went to Olympics. The Canadian organization Karate Canada, they give him a lot of status. So that's the biggest difference. When you get when you're junior, that's not really a thing. But when you enter the senior, which just means 18 plus, status is a big deal. So I have a very hard battle to basically outperform him on international scale. That's actually the reason after the Pan Am's, I'm not gonna go back home. I'm gonna go to Cyprus, which is a country in the Middle East, to train with their national team because I'm gonna compete in another competition they call Series A. It's like a level below the Premier League competitions to get points. And basically, all those competitions I do all year round, you go to go up the rankings. And for me, that's a really big deal because I want to be selected over him, and because he has so much status, I have to really fight for it. And especially that's why I'm doing the GoFundMe so I can afford these things. And then
He's gonna be gone for like 3 weeks just doing karate the whole time.
Yeah, it'll be a longest trip I'm gonna.
Rocky shit.
Yeah.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume that the Olympics it's a completely different system for qualifying. Is that something you'd ever do, or have you ever tried? Or
Yeah, I guess technically I was trying, um, but because of my position and also because of COVID, I never got a chance to, I guess, earn a spot for the Olympics because there was a few different ways, but without explaining everything, essentially like there was supposed to be a couple competitions where I could have theoretically got a position where they would have sent me to the Olympic qualifiers, but I never even got that chance. So they sent the other guy that I was mentioning. So he went to Olympic qualifiers, and then he got, because he did good in that competition, he went to Olympics. Um, so COVID kind of fucked things up where I never got a chance, even though that was kind of my dream. So
Man,
now,
they happen every 4 years.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Unfortunately for karate, because
yeah,
like they added it for Tokyo because it's from Japan, but
yeah,
there's not a lot of certainty in whether it's gonna stay as part of the Olympics.
yeah. We don't know if it's
So
gonna be the next.
that could have been just a one-time thing.
Oh,
Like
that's
It
unfortunate.
may
Yeah.
never be back. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. I mean, it kind of sucks, but for me, thankfully, like I said before, like I really like to go to the Pan Am Games, like the multi-sport event next year. That'd be a really big deal for me because like when you go for Team Canada, you're going for Team Canada for all the sports. So you're walking with all the Olympic athletes that you've seen like in the summer games for like sprinting, or, like swimming or whatever. Like you're in the same team as them. So
be
that's like
hanging
a
out with Andre
very
Degrassi and shit like
exactly
that,
yeah. Like he's hanging out in like the same village that you're in, and I just like other athletes are kind of telling me about it. It just sounds like a really good time, really good vibe. Like even for example, like the opening ceremony, like it's such a big event. Um, there's also a lot of honor to represent Canada. It's something on that level. And then apart from that, there's even world championships. So my goal is to be world champion. So that would also be a really big deal for me too, because Canada's never had a world champion for seniors.
No, just
We just had
juniors.
just junior. Yeah, yeah,
Well, hopefully you can change that.
yeah. Exactly. That's the goal.
We've got a savage of a coach. Like you need that shit, man.
Yeah. What would equivalent be like?
Our coach is a lot like.
Like Whiplash, like that. Dude.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say Whiplash.
Yeah.
Like
From
he's
Iron Man 2?
what?
Fuck you.
Man, fuck you. But no, our coach is not to the extreme in the movie, obviously, but he's definitely somebody who grew up. Like our coach is from Iran and went through a lot of like really crazy shit, so that already kind of hardened him. And he moved here by himself when he was very young,
Yeah.
and he worked through a lot of like odds against him, like random racism, just weird like political bullshit.
Yeah.
For like other
Yeah.
karate people being like, "Oh, you're like not from here, so fuck you."
Yeah.
And so he's kind of like pushed hard to make like a really strong team
yeah.
and also like raise some really good athletes. So
He's crazy, but good crazy.
like he knows exactly how to push you as well. And even like we were talking about this because the students at the dojo right now haven't competed in a while because they're all most of the people are younger than us. Me and
Yeah.
Fernando, we're kind of the older people.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of these kids who are now they're turning like 15, 16. So the last time they competed was maybe when they're like 12, 13. And so I think a lot of them mentally are still assuming the level of quality required is what they were before, but it's not the same. We're like they're older and COVID's gone now, so that like competitions are happening again. So we had to give him a motivational talk. But a few years ago when Fernando was going to Pan Am's, our coach straight up told him like, "Why would I train you? Like,
Oh yeah, that was.
you can tell the story if you want, but
Yeah.
I wasn't there when this happened, but from the way I understand it, like he said it in a way which to most people it would sound like a really dick move, but Fernando admits like he was absolutely right, and it pushed Fernando, I think, to kind of train super hard.
Yeah, like he's definitely. I think the same thing with like friends. When you have a friend, like you don't want a friend that's gonna like always say like, "Oh, you're doing everything perfect," like, "Oh, you're doing everything great." Like I think true friends are gonna like call you out when you're doing some shit, and be like, "Hey, like that's not fucking cool," or like, "Bro, like that's really irresponsible." I don't know, something like that. So
They
same
do it
thing.
all the time for his crap comptrolling.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I'm
give
an
him shit.
intern and not an employee. Like
Exactly. Basically, yeah, Hamid. His name is Hamid, and he's really like that. And I wasn't really being that responsible, and he like gave me a lot of shit. He's like, "Why the fuck would I train you? Like, what's the point? Like, you're not going to be ready." And at the time, it was very painful. It's like your, I guess one of your parents kind of told you something like that. It's like, what the point? What's the point if I raise you? Like, you're useless. Kind of like that's how I felt. Like it feel the same if my dad said something like that. Like what's the point of like doing anything for you? Like you're not going to amount to anything. Like that's how I felt in the moment. Like it really, really hurt, cut deep, because he's basically like a second father to me. Like I've been with him since I was 7 years old, and he's helped me through a lot of shit. And that was hard to hear in the moment, but in hindsight, I definitely needed to hear it, and that like forced me to get my shit together and really, um, from my own side, kind of work hard for it. And then once I was doing that, and he saw that I was committed, then he started, okay, I'm gonna train you. And that year, when it was my first Pan Ams, I was really nervous. I thought like I might not get anything, but because I trained so hard, I had that, I guess, motivation to still go for it no matter what. And I got silver that year. So um, that was a really good result. And that really pushed me to, motivated me to keep going.
Sometimes you need a thorn in your side to
Yeah.
push you.
I think with Hamid too, I hope you'd agree with this, but like there's a lot of like parents or coaches, just people in like positions of power who would say the exact same thing, like, why would I train you? But very few of them would actually recognize the change in attitude that some people put in and then respond according to that.
Yeah,
Like I
exactly.
know a million other coaches who might have said the same thing to Fernando, but when he actually started putting in the work, wouldn't have paid him any attention.
Yeah.
But Hamid is the type of guy where it's for sure a good back and forth because he sees when you're actually working hard and
Yeah.
changes his attitude towards you depending on that.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, you know, he's a busy guy. Like if you're not putting in the work, you know, that's disrespectful to him. He's giving you his all. You should give it all to him as well.
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely like it's like 50-50. It has to be on both sides. And I learned that the hard way, but now that I realize it, things are definitely working a lot better.
Now, I'm going to take a bit of a detour.
Yeah, for sure.
So everyone knows about Chris Benoit.
He'll get. This is a wrestler guy. Cooper's a big wrestler, like WWE like type of fan.
I've heard of the name, but
So he was a wrestler who had very extreme CTE and butchered his family. Now here's my question.
Okay.
Now that's just a wrestler, okay? What would happen? I think if you had CTE, I think you would be an unkillable machine. like just think about it.
We were making the joke for a while. Have you talked about your experiment from last semester on the podcast?
Experiment.
Your steroids?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So Cooper last semester was just doing steroids as an
Yeah,
experiment for
Just
himself.
fun.
Yeah, for
honestly, I would too.
for a
If I
cycle.
wasn't competing, I would.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then so we made the joke that he had roid rage and I had CTE and that we were gonna kill our third roommate together.
I see.
But like, I mean, just think about it, all right? Because you are trained to be like it's a very precise type of fighting because you are like if anything, like obviously like there's always the differences between MMA and karate,
Yeah.
but like you are fighting to be precise, but also not hurt your opponent, and that
Yeah.
takes a lot of skill and control.
A lot of control. Yeah.
Now, if we severed that,
Yeah.
because MMA guys like they're tough, no doubt.
Yeah.
Probably one of the some toughest people around.
But
Oh, yeah.
but they're trained to be killers and to fight,
Yeah.
which like obviously because I don't want to get any MMA fighters against me. I'm not saying that it's like I think it's great and I think that it's obviously it's great, but I think like for karate it might even be scarier were that moral tether cut because you know when to stop.
Yeah.
But then you have a bad thing in your brain that makes you not stop.
Yeah, I kind of wondered because one funny thing is like I've never been in a real fight. I just wonder like if I got pushed to that extent where I had to like go without control, whether to protect myself, probably more of like if I had to protect someone else. For example, like a lot of students like I see it as family to me, like, especially the younger ones. Like I would protect them the same way like I'd protect like as if I had children. Because I guess I kind of see them that way, like, or like I see myself like as a big brother. So it's like my little brother, like little sister. Anyways, like if someone like was gonna hurt them, like I don't know what I would do to this ex person who's like trying to do that, and like because I would do anything to protect them, right? And you bring up a good point, like because we control so much, but I feel like because we're going so fast, I guess you haven't seen any like karate footage, but maybe if you ever see it, it kind of make more sense. But we're going like really fast, and we're throwing our whole body.
The average world championship level punch is as fast as a blink of an eye, to give you context.
Yeah, like you're basically like yeeting yourself at the person. Like I'm not even joking. Like Carson, like, yeah. So if you put the force into like someone's face, or especially the kicks, like the kicks we don't really control that much because the kicks of the body, especially like you can.
He actually, our coach pairs me with Fernando for body kicks because I'm the only person who can hit him at the same level that his opponents are
Yeah.
going to hit him at.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like it's when I'm
because you have gorilla arms.
Yeah, I've gorilla
That too,
arms.
yeah.
But I also, my reach is also extremely
Yeah.
long too. But like for him, when I'm with him, I don't hold back on my kicks to the body at all for him because he needs that shit. He's fighting dudes who are like 200 pounds.
Yeah, yeah. But I think maybe if that's what you were asking in terms of like what could happen, I feel like definitely like if I didn't have any restraint and like for example just a body kick to someone, like definitely even just take one to break a few ribs.
A big difference between karate and MMA or even boxing is like those guys, and they could. I'm not saying they couldn't. Like they obviously are so well trained, they could easily adapt their bodies to this. But the way stylistically the fights go down, MMA is like a lot of the power just comes right from your arm, and they obviously know how to turn their hips and stuff to get more power. But for karate, like when we throw a jab or a punch, we go like 3 mats forward, which is like 3 meters. Versus like in MMA, like they can knock a guy out with a hard jab, but they're usually taking like half a step forward. For us, we're like, it looks so fucking funny because we're just flying around across the ring.
Yeah, it looks silly, but there's a lot of like power behind it.
Yeah, if you did not hold back the control on that, man, you could clean up.
But I wonder, I kind of also wondered what would happen.
Because Carson and I have had the discussion about if we were to fight, and we've come to the conclusion that no doubt Carson would kill me.
But here's the thing. Technically, mentally, this guy has no limits. I'm scared of what this guy can do because he'll fight dirty, and he is like, he's the type of guy to do fucking anything to win the fight.
That can be scarier.
Yeah. It's literally like the Joker Batman dynamic, where Batman is probably like the better fighter, but he has rules. This guy doesn't have rules.
Well, that's the thing. Like even like if compared to like MMA to like a real fight, when there's no rules, it's a completely different game. Like, and even for me, like just for karate, it can be scarier to fight a lower level student sometimes because they have less control and they don't really know what you're doing, so they can kind of be more harder to contain. Or if I fight a higher level person like Carson, I know he can hit me like really hard, but because I know he has control and he kind of knows what he's doing, I'm not actually that worried. Even though he can and he's done it before where he like knocks my wind out and I can't breathe for a little bit. But like that's probably the worst that can happen. He's not gonna fuck up and like knock me out,
Now I have another question.
All right.
Could you karate a bear?
No, I would die.
What about a simple black bear?
You keep bringing this up. I don't think you realize how big bears are.
Bears are fucking strong.
He was talking. He's like gorilla would beat bear no problem. Are you fucking dumb? Bears are enormous,
like
bro.
an adult bear or a
we
baby
never
bear?
specified what bear though. A grizzly bear? Yeah, probably. Fucking black bear, a gorilla could take no problem. And I think we could probably take a black bear no problem. Well, you could. I don't know if I could. I think it'd bite me and hurt. I'd be really hurt.
What's the biggest animal you think you could beat?
Yeah.
Animal?
No rules.
Like, okay, I'm not gonna say. I usually my go-to is boxing ring. You wake up in a karate arena, and on the other end of the karate arena isn't the animal of your choosing, and you both just immediately think, I have to beat that other person, or thing, or animal.
Yeah.
And like that's what the animal's thinking too. It's like it sees you and it goes, I have to kill this guy. What is the animal you think you could beat in a fight?
Oh shit! I guess it really depends because like I feel like if it's a animal with like
no respect
fangs or like teeth, I'm kind of like fucked because one wrong move, like one big bite, would kind of fuck me up. So maybe if it's like a really young bear, I might have a chance. That's what I'm thinking.
Young bears are scary because they don't know how strong they are. They don't have.
That's true.
They don't have control.
They're inexperienced. They don't have control.
Like gorilla, also like gorillas scare me. Like those big monkeys, like even if they're not that big, like if they'll rip you. Even the small ones, like they're vicious. They can really fuck you up. So.
That's what this guy is.
A little monkey can rip your face off.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's.
If Cooper was like an anime character with like a spirit animal thing, it'd be a fucking crazed chimpanzee for sure.
Listen, you guys aren't gonna believe this, all right? But the animal I think I could take Rhinoceros.
No.
No
Fuck
way.
you.
How would you? What would you do?
All right. I sneak up behind it.
Okay,
Look how thick his neck is, man.
bro.
You can. I don't know if their necks even move.
How
Well,
big
I'm
are
gonna-
They're
I'm gonna-
designed
I'll-
for ramming.
I'm gonna find out, aren't I?
Just choke him to death. You guys ever hear about that guy that got attacked by a cougar on? He was like just jogging in the mountains and a cougar stalked him, and he just fucking choked it to death when it attacked him.
Really?
Yeah, it like
The fuck?
it pounced on top of him, and he just crazy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Can you imagine watching the life of a cougar's eyes drain out of its eyes? That would be
He's just, man, I'm trying to go for a run.
Oh my god.
like this might be the inner serial killer in me, but I feel like I'd be like, holy shit. Like that'd be a real awakening moment.
Oh yeah, we have a joke that's Cooper's a serial killer. It is fine. Don't worry about it.
Tonight's the night.
Nice.
It's a nice
What
steroid
about you, Carson? You think what's an animal you think you could take?
But definitely, I mean, like, I'll start. I think I'll just, because I mean, a friend had this too. I don't know I'll start at a dog and then work my way up. I think I could take a dog.
Yeah.
I don't know about a wolf, maybe.
cougar.
I guess if that jogger can fucking strangle him to death, sure, yeah. I
Kind of
think-
gave me
I
like more
feel
confidence.
But
Like,
I've broken my thumbs before. I don't know if I have the grip strength to do that. But I could probably give him a good kick in the head.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be more than
knee
enough.
it, kick it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely not a rhino. You're dumb.
I don't know who he's talking to.
Chimpanzee, I think. I think if I took like 6 months of jujitsu, I'd be okay with a chimpanzee because that's what really scares me about them. They're like grapplers.
Yeah.
They're very grabby, right?
Mhm.
So I think if I
You
can
can keep your distance. You need
Ye-
a lot of kicks.
yeah, it's like because it's not well. I can keep my distance, but I can only do that for so long. I got to go in eventually, so I got to know how to go in without letting him grab me, or if he does, he doesn't get me pinned down. So that's the real thing. But like physically biggest, I feel like I could probably fuck up a giraffe.
I was actually thinking that too. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're big, but I think I could annihilate those kneecaps so easily. Gone immediately, and then after that, you just got to take a few whacks to the head or the neck, and they're done for.
I mean, the interesting thing is like people like equate them to being big horses, but like horses use a lot of shit with their legs. But like when you see giraffes fight, it's all neck.
They're so gangly.
So as long as you avoid the neck, like their powerful neck combo, I think
I'm
you'd
so
be fine.
small, I can
The
just
neck
roll
up.
around it. Like, he's not, and I feel like a neck takes a long time to swing. I'm too fast for that.
I feel like I could fight a kangaroo.
Oh, I don't know about
I
that.
feel like they can knock you out in like one kick.
They can, but here's the thing: kangaroos actually have like a system where kangaroos, before they fight with their legs, which is their most powerful thing,
Mm.
they do a couple tests with like punching.
Oh really?
That
Oh, that's what that video is of that guy
Yeah.
who hit that one that was attacking
so
his dog.
so kangaroos, their parameter is the first test if they're gonna fight you is how hard you punch and how hard they punch you.
Oh really?
So, but because we can punch really hard with our arms, if you punch a kangaroo, they're like, "Holy shit, this guy must have the most strongest legs in the world," and they'll fuck off.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
That's cool.
But also, kangaroos can't hop backwards, so if you want to fight a kangaroo, get bloody behind him.
Oh.
Or if you get this is something we do in karate a lot. So many people are used to going back, but there's only so far back like you can go before you get to the edge of the ring, or they catch you. If you get too close to somebody, that will also fuck up their distance. So if you get close enough to the kangaroo where he can't get his legs up, he's also done for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. Oh yeah.
Anyways, my final answer is giraffe.
All right.
I have a flip question. What is the smallest animal do you think that could beat you?
I think a duck with a knife on its back.
Shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
and this what?
A knife taped to its back.
Why? Just
Because I'd be inclined to pet it, and then I'd cut myself on the
no.
knife.
Fair.
He's so
I
cute,
don't know.
man.
A black widow could kill me. I assume a fucking.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
What about like a tardigrade, like a little microscopic guy?
He's got a knife on
taped
his
to his back. It's a poison knife taped to his back.
Oh no!
Yeah. When you bring poisonous animals, it's
That's a
different
whole other
too.
story. Why do people live in Australia, man? I guess they
This-
didn't choose to go there. They dropped off all the criminals on Poison Spider Island.
It's got nice beaches.
Yeah, it does.
It's got stingrays.
Have you ever been?
Nope. I do want to go. I've always wanted. I think there was a part of me that wanted to like work there for like a year, like just get a work visa and like work in a bar, because they're really nice out there. But also, it's a terrifying place. Like
Yeah.
I hate seeing videos of like people who like are like they're like, I had a couple friends who went to Australia to just like backpack around and like they just went into like a caravan, they just drove around the fucking continent and the fucking big spiders out there can crawl into vans so easily. It is effortless for them to get inside. Luckily they're
Huh.
not the majority of the big ones don't fucking I mean they'll bite you, but I don't think they're poisonous or at least they're not enough like it's usually the smaller ones that'll kill you. The big ones don't really do any damage to you. Um, but they can get into every nook and cranny like it's nothing.
Oh, I actually had a question for you, Fernando. So,
Yeah.
like, when we, well, I don't really do this anymore, but yeah, when like the thing that I hate about traveling for karate is you spend so little time in all these awesome, cool places, and
Yeah.
you just the 90% of what you see is the hotel and the venue, and that's
Yeah.
it. So I was gonna ask, like, out of all the places you've been to or even are going to, which one would you want to go back just on vacation to?
Well, it's funny you bring it up because even I've never been to Curacao before, but I've been hearing so many good things about it.
Mhm.
I feel like even though I haven't been, like I kind of already know based off what I've heard. I'd like to spend a lot of time there because it's very tropical, very beautiful. In terms of places I've been, I think Salzburg
Yeah, in
is in
Germany.
Yeah, and actually Austria.
Oh, Austria. Okay, yeah,
That's not Germany,
bad.
right? It's a different.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
Austria its
they're
own country?
yeah, they're right. Yeah, they're next
Yeah,
to each
even though
other.
it's right next to each other. Yeah, because it's like a Vancouver basically, because you have like the city, and then suddenly there's like mountains, and it made me really appreciate Vancouver a lot because sometimes I forget, oh, we have a lot of cool mountains around, and there because it's different, you notice it a lot more. You're like, holy shit, it's kind of crazy, and even just there's ways you can just go around the mountain and kind of explore or whatever. But you can do like snowboarding, skiing there. I'd really love to do that. And that was a place that I wasn't able to go around at all. So I'd really like to go back there and just explore. But honestly, like every country has been very cool. Like for example, I went to Spain earlier this year for like a Series A competition, and the food was crazy good. It was in a place called Pamplona, and it's so like you can get a meal that here in Vancouver costs you like $100, but there it's like $20, and it's the same quality. And
Goddamn.
it's crazy, and it wasn't even like the best food you can get. I think Barcelona had like better options for food, which I can't even imagine because the stuff I had there was amazing. So especially like cuisine in any country I go to is always a big attraction because I'm really into food, especially as an athlete. I'm always eating a lot, so um, I'd like to actually go around and like eat food that's like not in the hotel and more local stuff. Yeah.
Dope.
What's the is there like a you know like a lot is there an age cap for like when you kind of have to stop doing karate?
Oh, that's
How old's IGF now?
an interesting point. Yeah,
Because
there's
I
like
know a lot of athletes, it's like by the time they're like fucking 40, they're like kind of like,
Yeah.
or even
Yeah.
30s, they're like, you got to hang up the boots, bud. Like,
Yeah.
like what's the life expectancy of a karate athlete?
that's
Or,
that's a cool
of
thing
their
because
career, not themselves.
well, Carson was mentioning Agayev. He's an Azerbaijan athlete who's like considered one of the greatest of all time,
Like the
and he's been competing for like what 20 years.
yeah, in the karate circle, he's like he'd be on par with like Mike Tyson, like notoriety. It's like he's
Yeah,
the guy.
yeah, exactly. That's a good analogy. And he's right now like 36, and he's still competing.
Hmm.
And the guy that got first place at World Champions last year in my division at the time was 38 years old. So, and that's a crazy thing. I think that shows how much like our sport, like even though you need a lot of power, like technique, speed, whatever, and fitness, uh, it's about it's kind of like chess. You have to be it's very technical. You have to be very smart in terms of how you fight because without that, you're gonna lose 100%, even if you have very good techniques. So
It's so much based on that. And also, like, you're in kinesiology, so I could be speaking on my ass. Remember, somebody told me that the best your reaction time is ever going to be is when you're like 15 years old. And after that, it declines from there. That's why, like, esports players retire when they're 23 because they don't have the reaction time to keep up with these fucking 13-year-old League of Legends players. But it's like, um, yeah, it's exactly like, I think for Fernando's saying,
yeah,
it's all like mental. And even like,
I assume also it's like despite its physical nature, there's a lot of
Yeah.
protection. Like due to the fact that you're displaying so much control.
Exactly.
Whereas
Yeah.
you have other sports that genuinely like not that this takes not this doesn't take physical toll
Yeah.
on you because Carson's fucking out right now with an injury, proof of that. But like there's so much more control where like you probably do increase your life expectancy of continuing to compete.
100%.
Whereas
Yeah.
like you have even shit like fucking professional wrestling on TV where they are constantly taking huge bumps that are just
Yeah.
like every time they do it, it's like, yeah, you're probably gonna retire at 40 and then kill your wife in 2 years.
Oh man.
Or like football
Yeah.
or like any of
Yeah,
like
exactly.
even fucking you go to the Olympics, like people who do the big ski jumps, like
Oh yeah.
you can't do that shit for fucking ever.
No, no.
That
no.
shit will take such a toll on your body that eventually you have to stop. Like so, yeah, I guess it makes sense. You can.
I think
last a
what's
lot
also
longer.
interesting
Yeah, you
is
definitely can. Yeah.
obviously there's always room for improvement in like every aspect of all sports, but for somebody like Fernando, he's at a point where, and you told me about this when you went to Worlds and Pan Am's in the fall,
Yeah.
is that he told me he felt that his technique was actually faster and stronger and even better than a lot of the people around him. And like, you're only, how old are you? Like 20, 23?
23 now. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got, let's say, perfect technique. That's not enough. It's like you said, chess strategy. After
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Like I say, like as an athlete, karate athlete, we're always working on technique and everything to make it better for me. But definitely, what makes us a win, what makes you a champion in terms of like getting the gold medal or no medal, at the end of the day, is really just how well you fight and like making less mistakes than the other person and taking advantage of opportunities better. I guess in that sense, it's still very similar to MMA or like any other like fighting sport that you watch. They still have to fight very smart, and it's very technical too.
That
But
guy,
karate,
sorry,
yeah.
that guy Agaev we brought up, he is responsible for so many rule changes because he just abuses the shit out of any loophole he can find. Like
Yeah.
we used to be able to grab people's legs, and then he just became a master at that and just was putting people on their ass. Because if
Yeah.
you get somebody on their ass and punch them, that's 3 points instead of 1. So he was just doing that, and
Yeah.
they're like, no more grabbing the legs. So then he just started grabbing people's bodies, and they're like, okay, now you can only grab with one hand. Like he
Yeah.
was just like,
He was so.
yeah.
I guess Shaquille O'Neal also changed the rule for basketball. Are you familiar with basketball?
I enjoy watching it. I am not familiar with.
Man, if we had our friend Danny on the podcast,
he'd be
I
going,
should get
he'd be
him.
going crazy.
I think I don't know if it's true, but I heard like because of him, they also changed one of the rules in basketball because he was just so like, I think because he's so big. So karate has been like that, but yeah, it's like you said, like because it's more basic control, it definitely increases the life expectancy. So you can be a lot older, and if you just fight smart, you can be a lot of people that are physically a lot younger and even better than you.
So is there for you, like personally, is there an end goal? Like is is there something like equivalent to fucking Thanos snapping the gauntlet where you do it and you're like, all right, I'm done? Or
Yeah.
or is karate something that you think you want to do until you're fucking almost 40, you know? Like are you that no doubt you're that passionate about it because you're going to Pan Am's. That's a lot of work and effort. No doubt about that. But like is it because I know Carson mentioned you're in kinesiology. You know,
Yeah.
like it's like where are you falling on the line? Like what do you want to throw your whole fucking ass into?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Before, I think as an athlete, most athletes suffer with identity in terms of kind of like, okay, well, if I can't compete, then what value do I have? You
what
know?
am I?
Well, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a little bit of a crisis. And for me, I kind of hit that already a few years ago, even when I was competing. So I was kind of like, what do I want to do even when I don't compete? But at least for competing, I want to do it for as much as I can because I love it. And I like competing. I think it's really fun. But also for me, the biggest thing is that the more results I get, the better I can help and inspire the next generation, particularly my dojo, because we have a lot of young athletes, new generation that I really want them to come up and gain confidence. And I know whatever results and whatever I learn by, I guess, trying to reach the top is going to give me more opportunity to share and make them better as well, but also inspire them. So I gain a lot of value and fulfillment in helping people. So both in karate and then through kinesiology, I really want to help. They gain a knowledge, for example, to help people with like injury or like preventing injury, or like a knowledge of how to take care of their body or whatever kind of related to that. So that's kind of the goal, and that's why I think when I finish or when I retire from competing, I definitely want to do coaching. And I'd really like to keep teaching a lot of athletes, especially in my dojo. I have a lot of young athletes that they're so motivated, and I just really want to be by their side and see how far they can go. And yeah, that's a huge thing for me. And I think post karate competition, that would give me the most fulfillment.
And like, how long do you think you want to compete for? Do you think if you A, get to the Olympics, or B, become a world champion, like, do you think that's when you're like, all right, like, there's no more mountains for me to move, I'm gonna hang up my boots? Or do you, or would you be like some of those guys that are multiple world champions or Olympians, like, and just kind of like fucking keep kicking until you're dethroned? Because
Yeah.
this is a reference to wrestling, but in the wrestling business, they typically like their whole mantra is like, you don't just hang up your boots, you go out on your back, like basically getting the next guy in, like you're always putting someone over. Like, do you think you'd fight until let's say hypothetically
Yeah.
you become world champion,
Yeah.
fucking Mr. Olympian, would you keep going until the fucking next big guy dethrones you? Or do you think you'd fucking hang up your boots and be like, I'm the fucking best, I'm leaving?
I think my nature is to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
and that is my goal. I mean, because we have, like I mentioned, there's a guy, and I respect him a lot. His name is Daniel Kaczynski, and he's the guy that went to Olympics for Canada, and he's had a lot of amazing results and inspired a lot of Canadian karate athletes because he became a kind of our biggest athlete at the time. Anyways, I wanted, apart from him, I want to do better in terms of I want to go as much as I can, and regardless if I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not, but let's say I become world champion, I'd probably still keep going because I mean that's the cool thing about karate. There's a lot of competitions outside of world champion. Like there's world championships, there's like the Pan Am Games every 4 years. There's all the Premier League events. So I just want to get as much as I can until I guess maybe someone dethrones me, or until I guess I had enough.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I think that's the extent of my karate questions.
Nice. We're an hour and 36 as well. So if you're down to wrap it up, we can wrap it up. Or unless you got anything else.
Well, if we are wrapping it up, let's promote yourself again. You have a GoFundMe.
Yeah. So I have my GoFundMe in my Instagram. I don't know if
we'll plug that. We'll put everything.
We'll put everything in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it there. So you just go to my Instagram. It's on the bio. And I guess related to that, the reason why I do that is because Canada doesn't give really any financial support. So, for example, even though as an athlete selected to represent Canada for even Pan American Championships or even World Championships, I don't get support. Like I think last World Championships they supported me with $500, which was for them. They don't usually do that. They're like, oh, and I didn't expect that. They suddenly, oh, we had this money, so we're gonna support you with this. But the ticket was like $2,500, and I have to pay for that myself. I have to pay for the hotel, the registration, and it's very expensive. And especially because the only way for me to go up is to go to a lot of international competitions. So everything is kind of paid on my account, and I work really hard outside of karate to make enough money. And the GoFundMe really makes it possible. I did it last year, and because of it, it made it possible for me to go to Pan Am's and Senior Worlds. So any contribution makes a massive difference. Like even like $5, $10, like
chucking a buck.
And like a lot for me.
With that too, I think it's important to fund athletes as well because, again, like you said earlier, Canada hasn't had a world champion yet from our country. So a lot of the reason these other countries have funding is because they've had a lot longer like careers with their famous athletes, which has inspired like more people to get it. So it's like a feedback loop where like champions inspire young people to get into it, which makes champions, and it becomes popular. Yeah. And then that country becomes known for it. The country's like, oh, we should invest in this to kind of hype up our image. Yep. Canada doesn't have that yet, and especially with COVID, so many people quit. It's been damaged. So funding somebody like Fernando will kind of like give him the opportunity to go fight these tournaments. And if he becomes somebody like a world champion, that will inspire waves of people to join. And eventually we'll get to a point where Canada will probably start funding things more. That's what happened with my
Exactly.
dad in the 80s when he was doing badminton. The first couple of years he was doing it, he had to pay all the shit himself. And then badminton got to a point in Canada where, especially because there's a huge like Asian community out here who are really into badminton, it was famous enough where that whatever the sport like board is in the government, they started to fund a lot of more badminton things. So my dad got all his expenses paid when he was like 20 for badminton. But yeah, that's like the goal I think for karate right now, like long term, and that's why it's important to fund people like Fernando.
Yeah.
Do better, Canada.
Karate's awesome. Just give it money.
Thank you, Carson. No, I appreciate Carson.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll plug everything. Let's get this fucking guy to Pan Am so he can kick some ass.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. But even like just for people to know about karate as a sport, and it's not just like what people say on Cobra Kai. Even though I love the show, like I think it's really amazing. Even just bringing awareness to the sport helps a lot, and hopefully people that maybe don't know it, for example, like you, can find some enjoyment seeing like, oh shit, that kick was really cool. Like for someone like Carson and I, like that means a lot to us because like, I don't know, this feels cool to gain some validation. Like, oh yeah,
I think 90% of the problem is because there's so many other fighting sports. When people go into it with an idea of something and it's not that, they automatically are like, oh, this is weird and I don't like it.
yeah,
But if we can get more people like see it, it obviously MMA is just naturally more exciting because it's knockouts.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean karate is necessarily boring. It's just like if we can get people to see it for what it is, like
Yeah.
there'll be an audience for it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Fucking people play, like I was telling you, people play EVE Online. That's just an Excel spreadsheet simulator. People go crazy for that shit. Karate's way more exciting. So yeah.
No bias at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on, Fernando.
Yeah,
I wish
it's really
you
nice to meet you.
Best of luck out there.
Yeah.
We'll have to have you on when you get back.
Yeah,
tell
for
us
sure.
all about it. Carson, take us away.
Thank you so much for coming out to Daddyland. The park is closing down for the week. If you want to reach out to the show, send us an email at, like I said earlier, daddylandpod@gmail.com, or send us a message at daddylandpodcast on Instagram. I've been your awesome, perfect, exceptional comptroller intern, Carson, and this has been your mayor, Cooper Johnson, and our guest,
Wrong.
Fernando Aguilar. Yeah, bye.